All right. Welcome to the All the Hats We Wear podcast. I'm your host, Scott Snow, life coach and productivity expert, and you're going to get a lot out of this episode. I believe that the secret to a joyful, productive, and fulfilling life is to identify the 15 to 20 roles we play, all the hats we wear, hint, hint, and then turn them into masterpieces. Let's face it, what can be more important than how you spend your time and what your vision is for your life? Today, I have a special technique to share with you, and it's going to revolve around how to fold towels. And that's going to help you get in flow state. And it possibly could change how you approach your entire day and get a lot more done and do it with ease. If that sounds good, you'll want to wait for the end of the episode. I've got some inspirational stories here to share with you, things to get the wheels spinning, as always. Here's inspirational story number one. It's about Sweding. Have you heard this term? I just learned it myself. Sweding is remaking a classic movie at home, like with your family and friends, with zero budget. It's a lot of fun. Actually, I think it was named after a movie with Jack Black called Be Kind, Rewind, which is, it's Jack Black and a buddy of his that own a video store, like a VHS store. And somehow they erase all of their stock, all their videotapes, the VHS. So they end up having to refilm all the movies in their own way. So I need to find that one and watch. That sounds really good. I love Jack Black. I just saw Nacho Libre. I love that. Love School of Rock. He's great on TikTok. So one thing that, there's a bunch of great possibilities with Sweding a movie. You can certainly combine roles. On this podcast, we talk a lot about roles and all the hats we wear. So you could combine a parent role, a spouse role, get your spouse involved with the movie, all be actors and actresses. You can tap into your creative person role if you have one of those, creativity role, a lot of people have, visionary role, speaking skills. A lot of entrepreneurs and new managers have to adopt speaking roles so that you can work on your speaking skills. Also, writing skills. So a lot of these different roles that we can combine in doing activities that are fun like that, like creating your own movie at home with the kids. This reminds me of our project management stages, because in the All the Hats We Wear book, we talk about 7 stages of project management. So you have a creative project, and the 7 stages are: first, identify the spark. So that's the emotional connection you have with the project. Key, very important, that most people pass right by. Stage 2 is the gathering stage, where you bring in all those ideas. You could literally just have a folder or a cardboard box, slap a label on it, and just start tossing stuff related to your project in that box. That's the gathering stage. Next is the brainstorm stage. This is questions, questions, questions. Ask as many questions as you can. Next is the structure stage, the big brass tacks of your project. Then is the action stage. This would be the filming and all of that. And the refining stage. A lot of people skip right over this one too. It's very rewarding to be able to chip away at a project and make it sparkle. And then the last stage is to celebrate. You've done it. So I'm going to give a quick little overview. If you were to do a Sweding movie, here's how it might go with your 7 stages. This is so you can get a little more practice on creating your own project management and using these stages. Identify the spark, decide. Let's say I'm going to do Young Frankenstein with the family. Then I would focus on, why I love that movie. What is it about that movie? Maybe it's that it's black and white. Maybe that it's old. It's fun. It's funny. Gene Wilder is great. The Monster is great. And what does it mean to you? This helps dictate this why or this spark. You might think of favorite scenes. How does the movie make you feel? We always focus on emotional states and tactile feelings with the identify the spark stage. Next, the gathering stage. Watch the original movie, take notes, listen to the soundtrack. Go on IMDb and look for famous lines of the movie. Collect props. You want to reconstruct the original Frankenstein, Dr. Frankenstein mad scientist lab, and costumes. Next is brainstorming. Who are going to be the actors? What scenes? Structure. What are the main scenes? Storyboarding, musical selections, location, set design, action stage, rehearse and shoot the footage, refine stage, editing, redos, overdubs for audio, and then celebrate. Have a premiere party with your friends and family in the backyard, free popcorn, and maybe have it broadcast online too. Story number 2. Turning a hobby into a life. This was an article I read recently, and I'll leave in the notes, I'll leave the date in the newspaper. But with this pandemic, millions of people have lost their jobs. That's according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So a lot of people need a plan B. And there was a lot of great examples of, someone who was a creative director and they became a cooking personality, a web programmer who became a vinyl record guy where he'll press your own recordings on a vinyl for you, and private hairstylist to Nike designers that turned into a soap maker. So listing all of the passions, hobbies, and interests that you have is actually the first step to identifying all the hats you wear, because a lot of these things will show up in your roles. And I have a few examples. I'm working on a course, and it's going to be up on the website soon. I'll let you know when it is. It's going to be called 10 Times More Organized. And I give an example. I have a slide deck. And one of the examples is Tracy. When she identified her passions, hobbies, and interests, there was a lot of things that came up for her that became her roles. That's why it's so important to name all these things that you like and love. You never know what will show up. So for passions, she listed yoga, Spartan races, self-development, and being a cancer survivor. So her roles, and hobbies, she said roller derby, and then interests, she mentioned a lot of things, but she mentioned learning Japanese. So now later we look at her roles, and yoga instructor became one of her personal roles, because I was asking her, what are some things in your life that you just can't be happy if you don't have them in your life? She's like, I got to teach my yoga class. Another is the roller derby queen, where she joined a roller derby team and even had a nickname, Holly Wanna Crack You. And an adventurer, because she loved her Spartan races. That was the perfect vehicle to have a role about her personality, like adventurer. Also, she was a board member of the No Stomach for Cancer group organization, and Speak Japanese became part of her job as a director of leadership training and networker. So she named that as a role because it was that important. Story number 3. We lost a televangelist named Frederick K.C. Price. He was I always have fond memories of seeing him on TV. I loved his speaking style, and you really got the sense that he was allowing the audience to get his message as he was speaking. He didn't just keep blabbing. He really used silence very effectively, and I always appreciated that. So he was a televangelist. He founded a mega church in LA in 1973, one of the first Black mega churches. It grew to have 28,000 members, and that was called the Crenshaw Christian Center. And his way of pausing between his statements remind me of Michael Jackson in that documentary movie there, This Is It. He talks about, he's coaching his band through a song, and he tells them, you got to wait. More silence, wait even longer, because he says you got to let it simmer. You got to let that, you're handing it over to the audience for something to happen now. And I think that's so important. It's a great point. Also, I recently joined the Clubhouse app. Look me up if you're on there, Scott Snow. No, I'm under All the Hats We Wear. And we can link up there. But as you listen, I don't know if you've listened into some of the conversations, it's really fun because it's actually jarring to hear people give their point and keep talking. It's almost like they're talking for maybe 40% longer than what you're used to hearing people talk. You never hear people talk that long, just them saying their point before getting cut off. So it's kind of refreshing in that way. Story number 4, Keith Gill. He's the guy who was at the heart of this Gamestop investing thing. He turned $53,000 into, I guess, $11 million. He's known on YouTube as the Roaring Kitty. I mean, he's a very flamboyant guy, colorful guy. He said that when he won all this money, that he celebrated having chicken tenders dipped in champagne. But if you look back to his past, in high school, he was a track star. He was super, super competitive. He ran a 4-minute mile. And he also could have been a world champion card player, I guess. He played some kind of an odd game named Wizard. So, and he was incredible at that. They were I think he traveled the world, or at least Europe, competing for that. So very, very competitive guy. And I'm just always fascinated with when you have someone like that, like their strengths, how do they apply that? How can they just really need a vehicle to be successful. They have that competitive energy. But you don't want to be a creep about it either. You don't want to be a overbearing jerk. So that's something that Anthony Robbins talked about, I remember once, of, how can we be that successful and competitive, but doing it in an elegant, graceful way with some humanity and some purpose and joy. So important. Story 5. The other day I was reading a paper and I was just reading about how all the, President Biden is newly president now, and he has so many people tugging on his sleeve, like, oh, we got to do this, we got to do that. And imagine being the president in the Oval Office, or maybe you're in your bedroom, in your bed, the presidential bed in the morning, and everyone wants your ear, everybody wants you to do something. And how do you prioritize? Something we all have to do. This book came up for me. I read it a long time ago. It's called The President's Book of Secrets by David Priest. And very fascinating. This is about the briefing, the PDB, Presidential Daily Briefing, that every president gets in the morning. And the book goes through all different presidents and how they all liked it in a different way. JFK, he preferred his close advisors, and we wanted to be a summarized, quick, heated discussion. And he wanted that reaction of the humans, people that he really trusted, to summarize and get to the bottom of it quickly. Reagan had a different approach, and President Obama had his on his iPad. So change with the times, but very fascinating. So priority with the PRI at the beginning of the word means one. So actually the meaning of the word only means there's one thing that's your priority. We often say, well, we have all these priorities. You really have to think about the one. Usually in my planner every day, I have a booklet that I print, excuse me, and at the top of the page is a box. It's a bolded box, and it just says top outcome. And that's where I put, I do put a few priorities there, but you can ask yourself, if I were to get one outcome today, what would that be? And of course you have to be flexible, because as much as you want to have a plan for your priority, life changes. And sometimes you achieve something it wasn't even on the list, and it turns out to be the most important thing of the day. Story 6. There's a famous line from the musical and book Zorba the Greek with Anthony Quinn. And someone asks him, have you ever been married? He says, am I not a man? Of course I've been married. Wife, house, kids, everything. The full catastrophe. And this was also written up in the book by John Kabat Zinn, The Full Catastrophe. He's a mindfulness expert. But this is why I like to talk about all of our roles in managing that, because really we're proud of all these different roles that we play. And that's the richness of life, is that we can do all these things. You see it every single day in the obituaries and also people's social media profiles. And it's just a fact of life. We have a lot of different things we want to do. So it's kind of beautiful to embrace all of the craziness sometimes and not fight it. Story number 7. You probably have an Alexa or an Echo Dot. I have one in the bathroom, and it's so helpful. Constantly, well, I have Sirius satellite radio, so it's first thing I do when I get in the bathroom is ask it to play Ozzy's Boneyard from Sirius. I love Ozzy Osbourne, and I love heavy rock. But sometimes what I do with that Alexa is I give it a command in a different voice, just to be goofy, to be fun. I don't know why. I'll say like, 80s on 8 on, like I'll just change the voice. I'll sound like a radio announcer one time. But I think what's nice about this is that it's kind of like trying on different roles, like future roles. When you identify all the hats you wear and have your role list, 15 to 20 roles that you play, you always want to have a couple future roles in there, things you're not actually doing now. It's like a place card holder. This could be, and you want to think big, of course, visionary, innovator, sales pro with swag, millionaire, billionaire, investor, wealth builder, philanthropist. You got to have those big thoughts. So it's a nice way to try on some different shoes with Alexa. Story number 8 is about confidence. We all need a little of that. I like to throw in these different stories and inspirations from the past or from news, just to give, as I said, get the brain moving, get some ideas. So on confidence, the psychology professor Richard Petty described confidence as the stuff that turns thoughts into action. And he says there's 2 steps to this using confidence. The first involves your judgments and thoughts about what you're capable of. Step 2 is that the confidence transforms that judgment into action. So how confident are you, and how can you bolster your confidence? Well, this leads us to our lead story here. How to get in the flow state for your life of purpose. I first thought of this when I was folding towels. And what I was doing was, I probably had the TV on, but I had a whole basket full of warm towels right out of the dryer. And I just would grab one and fold it, and then not think about, have an opinion about the next one. I'd just grab whatever is most convenient, whichever is the closest, easiest, the most logical to take next. And I was folding that, and I was in this zone where I wasn't thinking at all. It was almost like a dance where there's no wasted mental energy or physical energy. You're just going for the next one, and you're in flow. And the same thing I applied to putting away the silverware. Don't have an opinion. It's such a tough thing to go through the day and not have a million opinions constantly, that inner thoughts that we have. That's just crud in the pipeline that we want to clear away and get clear. And we can do that by noticing how many stupid little opinions, they don't even mean anything. They're just like, well, I don't want to do that right now. And the best thing in the world is when you have that approach of no opinions, just execution. I don't mean be a robot, but when you have that, you're just going from one to the next. There's nothing that is wasted, and you really get in the flow state because momentum is the key that you're focusing on. And so I say, start with a couple basic exercises like folding the laundry and applying that in the silverware, and then tidy up your office or tidy up your bedroom with that same approach. Don't think, once you catch yourself thinking about something, then start over, like reset and clear your brain. And then you get to the point where you can try to apply that to your whole morning or your whole day. And it really helps out when you have a to-do list or a list of action items that need to be done. if you compile them, a list, then you just start banging them out as quick as they come. You just dial the phone, don't even think about it. Rattle off that email. I did it a couple weeks ago. There's a woman that I treat as a mentor. She's very helpful to me. So I rattled off a couple things that might be helpful to her and a little question. And before I even said, oh, maybe I shouldn't bug her, is this silly, or I'm gonna be wasting her time or anything like that, I hit go, return, send. And it really gets you in flow. So try that out. Well, we covered a lot today. I hope that you apply some of these things to your busy life. I'd like to end with a little quote here from Tony Robbins. Once you know yourself, being yourself is easy. So if you want more information about my life coaching and my programs and my course, How to Be 10 Times More Organized, which is going to be totally free for you to check out. It's not quite up yet, but you watch for it. It'll be there. Check out my website, allthehatswewear.com. I also have all the social media that I've been busy with. Love to connect with you there. I just started being on TikTok too. Well, not just started, but having a lot of fun with that. And join me there. It's not just for kids. I do all productivity and time management, life purpose stuff. And I was very surprised that, like you've got teenager skater kids that are into life purpose. You would never think it. So it's been really neat. So I say check out the website, and thanks for joining me. See you next time.